On Introduction to Modern Web Application using Next.js. My name is Ashish Kumar. So let's move on. Uh, so in this for this presentation, I have created three clones. So to give you a demo on Next.js, I have created Amazon, Instagram, and Medium clones. Uh, Let me show you those clones first. So this one is Medium clone application. If you guys don't know what Medium is, so Medium is basically for sharing your blogs on internet. So this is the Medium clone application. This is the Amazon clone application, and this one is Instagram clone application. And all these things are built on using Next.js. For the Medium application, I have used Sanity backend. So suppose uh, if some user wants to publish some blog, so he or she can come to this website. As of now, it is now hosted on localhost, but you can host this project on some domain also. And all these thing website also are running on localhost. So different ports I'm using. And suppose if I do any change over here, and suppose if I make this contact, and if I publish something, so it will get reflected over here. So earlier it was contacts. After I go to this website, and it will get contact. So this is how it is taking the data from this Sanity backend. And in the Amazon clone application, it is basically for purchasing something, and any user can purchase anything, and any user can sign in using the Google authentication. Like I can sign it from here, and users can see their previous orders over here also. So if I go to the returns and orders, so user can see these it's their previous orders. And in the Instagram application, user can sign in from here, right? And these authentication provider gives the application three things, like one is profile image, second one is name of the user, and the third one is email ID. And it also gives you other things like session ID, but all these things comes when they sign in. So these likes, all these things are coming the from the Google provider, and users can post anything they like. I can post any image I want. I can write any caption and post something. So it will get posted, and the data will get stored in the Firebase backend over here. In a few minutes, it will get posted over here, and the data will reside in the uh, Firebase backend. So the all these things come over here. All the data related to a post will come over here, and any user can like any post, any user can comment any post. All the likes, all the posts are kept on the Firebase backend. So moving on. So for I have showed you, like I have used Firebase for the backend. So you can keep all these things on the Firebase. And one thing, all the Firebase database is for keeping all your text data, all the text data. And if you want to keep your media like images, videos, and audios, you need to use this Firebase storage, and inside this Firebase storage all the images are kept. So this is all. And for the Amazon and Instagram, I'm using Firebase. But for the Medium, I'm using Sanity database for the different use cases. I want to create a backend so that users can also uh, manage the data uh, on this website. So that's why uh, I have used this Sanity backend. So both these backend have some different use cases. Firebase backend also provide you the authentication. So whatever authentication you have provided using Next.js, it also bypasses through this authentication. So it is like this. So moving on, I have used NextAuth. Let me show you how it is used. How you can use NextAuth. So suppose if I click on sign in, and here you can see this sign in page. So all these things like next authentication, it is coming from NextAuth. You can come to its documentation, and inside this provider, so you have to go to the NextAuth documentation, and inside the providers you can find any kind of authentication you want in your uh, project. So suppose you want to Google authentication in your project, you can refer this documentation and then and use the authentication, Google authentication, or whatever authentication you want. And if you want credential authentication, like if if you want your user to put username and ID in your application, then you can come to this page. Here they have showed you like what codes you have to write. All these things are provided over here. And for in a brief, let me show you what are the things that you have to do. Inside your application, you have to create a folder structure, same folder structure. You have to follow the same folder structure since Next application uses Next routes, folder-based routing. So that is why you have to create things like this. So inside the pages, inside the API, inside the auth, here you have to create a folder like this, and here you have to keep the client ID, client secret of your Google and Facebook like this. And this Google client ID and Google secret is coming from this environment variable file, which is over here. So 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 you have to create this file, and the documentation about creating this file, you can find it on this website, like getting started website and the client REST API, how these things works. So if you come over here, you can find all the things, configuration, I guess. Yeah, yeah. So so and if you want a custom sign-in page, you have to create a custom sign-in page like I have created in the Amazon application. Um, Here inside the auth page, you can create a sign-in page. This thing is also defined in the documentation. So that's all for the next auth. Moving on, Tailwind CSS. So all the designs in these three applications is coming from the Tailwind CSS. So I haven't used, if you see my application over here, you won't find any CSS file except this file. So this file is only used for defining some standard things and so in your application. So 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 you just have to define this CSS file only, and nothing you have to define. And let me show you how this Tailwind thing works. So if you go to some product, if you see the classes, so if I hover, I am only using the class names to define the styles of a particular page. So I don't have to create a different CSS file. I just need to use this class name, and all the design that you want to add in your application. You It is predefined in the training. So you don't have to go for some custom CSS. You can use the tailwind CSS, and you can build pretty much anything you want. So let me show you like how this thing works. Like suppose if I want to make this suppose I want to make this text as red. Make this text as red. So if I know CSS, you just need to know CSS only. So I got some message. Let me check that first. So it's in that all. So so you just have to write this text red, and Tailwind will start giving you these things like these suggestions. So you just write text and it will start giving you suggestion. Like if I only write text, and it will start giving me like what are the things that I want to add. So if I add text extra large, so it will give these two styles. And if I go some if I want to add something like text center, text, all these things will come over here. And how these suggestions are coming. uh, So to have these suggestions come in your VS Code, you need to install this Tailwind intelligence. So so if you want to use this Tailwind, you have to install this Tailwind intelligence. And in your project, you need to have a developer dependency. So if you come over here in my
Yeah, Ashish, one question. Sorry to interrupt.
okay,
Yeah, who is providing this tailwind? Like, is it general CSS platform like Bootstrap or Foundation, or is it something else?
yeah, actually, it is coming from I'm coming from to this point. It is coming from a package. You have to install this Tailwind CSS in your project, and once you install it, whenever you run npm run dev, whatever your developer script is, and what if you want to run npm run start on that at that time it creates a package, a webpack. Inside that webpack, we have a CSS class. So in this file, it creates the CSS classes, uh, and it is coming from this Tailwind CSS. So you don't have to do anything. You don't have to go to some Bootstrap. You don't have to import the CSS from the CDN. And the thing with the problem with CDN is whenever we put CDN on a particular page, uh, this we have to import the whole CDN to a particular page. But in Tailwind, we for a particular page, we only use the classes which are defined over here. So we don't need to add all the classes that suppose if we use Bootstrap, we import all the classes. But here we only import the classes which is defined on this page. So by doing this, the size of the CSS file reduces. So this is the feature of Tailwind. And if suppose you want one more feature of Tailwind, so I guess your point is clear.
Sure, yeah, this looks interesting. And I'm not sure how it can be compatible with the Salesforce side of things because at times we need custom CSS there. But yeah, it's an interesting CSS framework for sure.
Yeah, and suppose if you want to give some custom CSS, suppose in the product, if I want to add some padding, so inside this padding class, we have uh, we have a difference of 0.25 RAM in every CSS class over here. If you see 0.25 RAM, 0.5 RAM, 0.75 RAM. So if I want to give some custom padding, like if I want to give some padding of 20 pixel, so in that case I can write it like this. If I write it like this, so it will give you a padding of 20 RAM. So every custom, it also takes care of the every custom things you do in your application. So this is about the tailwind, and also let me show you one more thing. Like if it also makes it also helps you to make your website responsive. So if I not in this case, there is some bug in this application, but in the Amazon application, I have made it responsive. So if you see over here, so it makes your website responsive too. So how it is doing? Let me show you. It uses some breakpoints. Like if you see over here, product field. So for the large screen, so the large screen breakpoint, it is making the grid column 3. For the extra large screen, it is making the grid column 4. And for the medium screen, it is adding this CSS. So we can do it like this for if you want to add some uh, breakpoints in our application. So this is how, and if we go to the documentation of Tailwind, so it has a different installation process. Like if we want to install it in our, suppose if you want to use it in your Salesforce application, you can go to this installation guides. And I have in one of my application, I have used this Tailwind CSS and installed it using these documentation. And if you have some framework like I'm using in the Next.js, you can go to this documentation, and in the Angular, you can go to this documentation. So according to every documentation, the things are defined. So let me tell you. So how you can install it in the Next.js application. Here, these two commands are for creating the Next.js application. So once you create your Next.js project, so after that, you need to install these three dev dependencies. Once you create these three dev dependencies, you need to write this command npx tailwind init p. So what it does, it creates a Tailwind config file. So this is the file. I'm using just-in-time compiler mode. This feature is as of now not released, but you can ignore this thing. But you will get, you will get a file like this. And in this file, you will need to add these lines also in your application. So once you add this, after that, inside the global CSS, you need to add these three lines. Once you do all these steps, you are ready to go. You can run the npm run dev and start writing these things. Also, you need to install the Next.js IntelliSense on your VS Code so that you will get the suggestions. Here I am using this layer things. These layer things are I have defined. So in my Amazon application, I have defined some standard buttons. So these themed button like add to baskets are constant on my application. So if I go over here in the signing page, here also the styles are same. So for that use case, I am defining this button classes, all the classes of button. Here also, all the classes are coming from Tailwind. So that's all about the Tailwind. Moving on, uh, I have explained you about the Sanity. So let me go to the code also. So how you need to install the Sanity. So to install Sanity on your project, uh, this is my root folder. It looks like this. And once you write Sanity install, first you need to install the Sanity on globally on your system. You will find the documentation on installing Sanity globally on the website of Sanity. But but once you install Sanity on your system, you will get a folder like this. You need to give a name. Here I have given the name of the Sanity as Hello Sanity. So once you install Sanity on your project, it will look like this. It will have a different package JSON. It uses React. So if you want to make any changes on the UI on this UI, you can make it. So after that, once you install, you have to define the schemas. So inside for the schema, like for the post, I am defining these fields like name as name. I have defined the title, description. Slug is a name for a particular post. Like suppose if I go to this post, so this name is coming from Slug. So Sanity creates a Slug name um, for a particular title. So it is coming from that, and I have created this kind of a schema, and also in the schema JS file, you have to define all the objects that you have defined like this. You can find this thing on the documentation, and once you do this, you can start your application, Sanity application on your local server. I'm running this on the localhost 3333. Um, One is the main application that is Medium is running on 5000, uh, which is over here. So I have opened two command prompt over here, and this one is running on localhost 5000, and this one is running on localhost 3333. And once I write Sanity start, first I have to move to this project folder first inside this folder, and then I can write Sanity start. Then it will start this Sanity Studio, and later on also I can deploy this on a different domain. As of now, it is not deployed. If you come to the website, this is a website of my. I have logged into my domain. As of now, it is not deployed, but later on I can also deploy it. So this is how the Sanity works. So moving on. After that, I have also used Redux and Recoil. Let me also show you how this thing. So Redux and Recoil is used for global state management. So suppose if I add something to my basket. So at that time, I want to keep a data of all the things that I have added to the basket. So which is constant across my application, across the pages, across the different routes. So suppose if I go to the basket of my page, so over here in the checkout, uh, since it is a different route, and uh, here also the global static variable is same. So keeping all those variable, we can use Redux and Recoil, and these two things are different packages. So in the Amazon, I have used Redux, and in the Instagram, I have used Recoil. So so uh, so, uh, so the reason why I have we use Redux and Recoil. The difference between them is Redux is built by the Next.js team, so we can rely on this in the production application. But if we go to the Recoil is managed by a private player, but the reason why we use Recoil is because its simplicity. Recoil is much more simpler to use, whereas Redux is much more complex. But you can use Recoil in your small or personal application. So that's all. And Recoil I have used over here. I have used to have used to manage the model in my application. So, so when I'm clicking on this, the modal state is kept on the recoil. So, so this is why I have used recoil in the Instagram. So moving on, let's talk about the features of Next.js. Why we use Next.js over any other frameworks. So the most interesting feature of Next.js, which makes it stand out from any other thing, is its backend. So Next.js is the only framework of its type that gives a backend also. Um, if we talk about React, React doesn't have backend, but Next.js actually uses React as its front end, and it also has a backend. So if you want to learn Next.js, you first have to learn React also, but then only you can learn Next.js. So what Next.js does is Next.js backend does is, so suppose in this application, in the Amazon application, if I come to the index page, let me, go over here. Let me come to the home page. So over here, all the product details are coming from a API. The API name is Firestore API. So, so what it is doing, it is going to this Firestore API and fetching all the products and displaying it to this page. But what happens with the other application is when we come to this application on this page, at that time when the user come to this application, at that time it makes a request to that fake store API or any other API, and then gets the data from there, and then it displays the products. But what happens with Next.js is uh, it has a backend. Back so the request is made from the Next.js backend. So this Next.js backend makes a request to the Fixstore API and gets the data and creates a static HTML page. So this page is created as a static HTML page, and it doesn't make a request to the API, to the Fixstore API. And when I refresh it, it doesn't go to the Fixstore API, and as you have seen, it the product's data doesn't move anywhere. It was over here, kept over here. It doesn't go to the Fixstore API and gives you the result. So by doing this way, first of all, Next.js increases the speed of your website, and second of all, suppose uh, you have a server, and the limit and the API limit of the server is about 1,000 per day. So if your website is used by thousands of user, 10 lakhs of user, then in that case, your site will crash since the API limit gets reached. So in that case, Next.js server, what it will do, it will go to the Fixstore API in every 1 hour or in every 1 minute. So in every 1 minute, it prepares a page and gives all the clients a static page. So in that case, the API request gets reduced, and the API hits also reduced. In this application, in the Amazon, I'm using the standard time for making the request, but in the medium clone application, I'm using custom time to make a request. If you come over here, I'm using this simple technique to revalidate. I'm using this revalidate. So it is revalidating the database in every 60 seconds. So it is in every 60 seconds, it is going to the database and fetching the results. So actually the backend is going to in every 60 seconds. Backend is going to the database and fetching the results and creating a static HTML page. So you can make this 60 or 600 or 6,000, whatever you like. So according to that, it will make a request. So so this is all about the uh, the Next.js backend. You can also make the request in the old way, like you can make a request over here. Here you can write a JavaScript like over here. But in that case, it will make request when a user lands on your page. So this is all, and you can also search this on the website. If you go to the website on Google, you can search it. So you can search it over here. Read about it, like how the Next.js makes request. And moving on, uh, Next.js also gives you a feature of image optimization. It is very helpful for to make your application faster. Faster. So if you see on this page, so let me start from here. So if you see on this page, suppose this product image. So suppose this product image is of 5 MB, but we are using in a 3 centimeter by 3 centimeter screen. So in that case, it compresses your image to display it on a small window. So to do that, what it does is, so if you come over here, to use this kind of image optimization, you have to use this image tag, which is provided by Next.js. I have imported it from the Next from here. And here you have to define the height and width of the image over here. So according to the height and width of the image, it compresses your image. Like if you have 5 MB of image, it compresses the image according to this height and width. And then it shows you over here. And all these things is also done by the Next.js backend. It is not done in the client side. It is done on the backend. So so this by doing it this way, the next image loads can be made faster. The next thing with images is it gives you visual stability. Since we have already defined the height and width of the image, it makes the area for this image preoccupied. So suppose I am refreshing this page. Uh, Keep an eye on this carousel images, which is on the back side. So over here, I have used the normal image tag. If you go over here I have used the normal image tag, and over here I have used the image tag which is provided by Next.js. And I am refreshing the page, and if you see the reference of loads so when the image was not present over here, the content was over here in the top, but when the image was loaded, the content moves down. So this thing is can be only done using next image tag. So using the width and height of the image it preoccupies the space and keeps your content on the bottom, like over here. Moving on, it also gives you faster page loads using viewports. Let me show you what this. Let me explain you what this means. So suppose when I open this application, my viewport is this. I'm only able to see these four images over here, product images. But as I move down, I need to see these images also. But I don't need to see these images when I am over here. So these images which are on the bottom doesn't need to be loaded when I am over here. So what Next.js do is it first loads images which are on the viewport of the user. So user can only see these images, and when he goes down, he can on then he can see the image. Then the Next.js will load these images. So to show you this in action, let me delete this. Let me restart this application by deleting the cache memory since it already fetches the images. I'm deleting this thing and I'm running this thing again. So we have to wait for a few seconds to get our build ready. So what it will do, it will load the images on the top, load these first four images, then only it will load the images on the bottom. So if you see, so these four images are loaded first, and if I go down, you can see these are images are loaded later on. So so this is how the page loads of the works using viewports in the Next.js. Moving on, it also gives you font optimization if you have used fonts in your application. Fonts takes a lot of space, like it takes 5 MB of size if you use Google Fonts. It takes 5 MB of size, but it has Next.js has some ways to to optimize your fonts also. I haven't added the fonts in the different fonts in my application, but you can read this on the documentation. Moving on, I have already explained you the Tailwind CSS, how the Tailwind thing works. Um, uh, all this, and it also Tailwind also has icons, different icons library. So all these icons are coming from the hero icons library. So you just have to install this hero icons in your project. So if I go to come to this page, so these if you see over here, the camera icon is coming from hero icons. All the you can import it from here. So this thing is also built by Tailwind team, but you can also reuse React icon. So this is also a library. You can use it like this. It also has same kind of icons for your websites. You can use this one also. Moving on. So that's all for this presentation. So if you want to, thanks for joining. If you want to learn Next.js, you can start from React. Then only you can learn React Next.js. And React or learning React also has another benefit, like you can also learn React Native if you know React. And React Native is used to build Android and iOS application at the same time. So so that's all for this presentation. Thank you for joining. If you have any question, you can ask me.
Hello Ashish.
Yeah,
Yeah, can you show that Amazon website?
okay.
Yeah, like I was asking, like, is it like carousel or something at the back?
Yeah, browser.
Like these cards are coming above carousel. Like, is it like changing colors automatically?
What colors?
Like these cards, like
Yeah, I have kept three images and it is using a npm library. I have installed a npm library for to display these browsers. Oh, yeah,
okay,
let me show
and
you over here.
no, like it's
You go
okay.
to
Yeah, I got it. Like, and like, one more question, like, how are you reducing like the CSS size of it? Like,
so suppose this website. So if you see,
initially it installs everything, right? Then you reduce it, maybe.
yeah, all these things are done by Tailwind. What it does is, so
Hmm.
suppose if you use a delivery network or a CSS file or a library that have CSS in only one file. So that one file becomes very big. So
Mm,
and the CSS are imported by from that file. And
mm,
if you see your if you see the by inspecting the element, that element also that page has the whole CSS file associated with that.
mhm,
So, so sometimes we don't use every classes defined on that CSS library. We
mm.
only use around 25 to 30% of the classes defined in that library. Suppose if I go to this sign-in page. So in this page, I maybe I won't be using all the CSS libraries for to display this page. So in that case also, if I use different kind of CSS library, it will load the whole CSS library. But over here, what Tailwind does is in all these things it is done in the webpack. It actually builds a webpack over here in the local. If since I'm running on a local host, it is creating a webpack on this folder. But if I deploy it on Vercel or on a different website, so it has a it has a webpack and it has a optimized CSS. So only the CSS that are used are kept over here.
Okay, okay, got it.
One general question, Ashish. Are you like building a project on this or this is something else?
No, not I'm not building a project. I'm just I have created this for the practice purposes.
Okay.
So Ashish is, you can say, part of our internal raw team and maybe the only member so far. So he keeps on researching. We built some smart contracts and some interesting things. So this, I think, is again a crazy stuff coming out of that only. So very excited to see where and how we can apply all of this.
Yeah, and in this application also in the NextAuth, if you go to the NextAuth, they also provide you the feature of logging in using the Web3 application, Web3 wallets. Let me go over here. If you go to the credential, they have a example project of how you can build a project. You build a web project which uses Web3 authentication. So if you have a website that uses logging in using your Ethereum wallet, or if you are using it on the Brave browsers, so it has a wallet associated with that. So in that case also, since in this decentralized world, uh, since we are moving towards the decentralized world, so it is also giving you the features of signing in using Web3.